here as she has been the whole round, but Governor has come in to fill the space, looking for the fight, and Crashies is the one to win it as the rest of the attackers move into the B site, meeting up with that late play from Alfier, who's been containing that deep push. So they're going to get themselves on site with double the time of last time, and this time, they've got the plan.
They've done it.
Round of applause, please. But in the meantime, Fluorescent has been able to get one back, putting things into an even scenario. Kayak in a solid position, but somewhat isolated. It doesn't seem to matter, though. Two quick and easy picks. And with Batu already dangerously low, a smoke and a nade to try and run through. This is looking like a done deal. No hope, it seems, for the Clutchmeister himself. And Fnatic, well, has been spotted. This retake definitely not going to be easy. And you have to bear in mind, this is a quote-unquote bonus round.
Back into the salvo. Barely holding on to life as Kayak, but with the showstopper online, 3 HP, you're not likely to use it in a 5v2, turn 5v1. Definitely not the time to deploy any ultimates. It should be an easy conversion. Batu trying his best, but too many numbers.
So, yeah, this so far hasn't worked. Kayak is walking through the snake fight. Absolute lunatic, gets punished, but this almost keeps players on the other side of the map. You've got the hold from Governor. Potentially going to try and deny with the salvos, but that denial will not do enough. Crassy's position is so aggressive, it's not expected by Avova.
No, and now we're in a really, a much more difficult position. I thought Crashies would turtle, come back to the rest of the squad, play the post plant, but he swings out wide, catches a player on stairs, and leaves this in a position. I mean, 4-0, looking at a 5th round for Fnatic, and with the rifles in play, an operator still in their hands, they might have wanted to hold on to those for the next round.
Prospect Boaster has just teleported through the utility, but then Avova just TPs up top. Not exactly expected. I think he's escaped the showstopper as well, so a huge amount of damage with ults. And then the stun combined, I believe, with the smoke and that Armageddon has torn apart Fnatic. A great start to the round from Apeks.
Especially when we've seen Fnatic take so many of these rounds so slowly. The one time that they go for that little bit of aggression, it's met pound for pound by Apeks. A beautiful adaptation from this squad, and now what should be their first round on the board.
Exactly, and that's what we're looking for out of Apeks now. What have you got that you can take it to Fnatic with?
Careful.
Watching here.
How much does Kayak have?
That one's free.
Okay.
Fluorescent's not missing that shot. I would have bet my house on it.
I got the spike.
Or Alpha. He's no Avova. He is up against. If it was Avova, I believe in the clutch, but so much space.
Do you remember who Alfier is?
No,
did you watch Lock-In? Have you seen any of these events?
He's not Avova.
Alfier, yeah, he's not
Avova's
Avova.
my #1.
But he has a couple more trophies than Avova.
I seem to remember one on Icebox B main. He had quite a good job of clutching up against a certain team in a certain grand final, I think.
That comes out from Crashies is integral, but this one has left a gap. They're aware of it, but it doesn't matter.
Very clean engagement. The lurk out here from Chronicles set to meet Avova any moment now. Waits on the other side. Alfier's bot had delayed him as Alpha takes that kill on B. At this point, it seems clear Alpha's the lurk. The C hits where it's coming in, and that's why Avova's still poking his head up that deep on A. But he'll lose his life for his trouble, and now that A site wide open with a TP in from Boaster, Apeks won't be able to rotate ahead of this play. Fnatic should have themselves a free plant.
My ultimate is ready.
Batu's dropping down.
Getting flashbacks to a round that never was. They got so much information about where two of these players are. Even going to put the lockdown in, don't mind it. It's going to force them into an awkward position, cycle those ultimates back from this stage. Batu should be screwed and eventually will be for Floor again.
Have something up their sleeve. Same comp comes in, and you're like, okay, how are you going to run it? Not like that. Kayak's already ahead, not even hit by the paranoia, and easily eliminating Avova. Again, that A site is blown wide open, and it feels like this defense from Apeks it's like looking at leaves in the wind. They are just being thrown about by the gust of Fnatic.
What is different now, what they are changing up within this same default they've been keeping, is now this double B main push. They're closing out that option, but they've still given them a one.
Yeah, I think the second man got lost.
Got so much hope in your voice there, pal. I loved hearing it just fade away. Here they go, they're doing it.
Oh, the fade on has been put through. They know there's no one on the site itself. I was going to say that we could build up nicely for a combination of the Dimensional Drift Rolling Thunder, but when you're in a 3 versus 5, the gamble doesn't seem worth the risk. They know the Kayak's here. They heard a bullet or two connect, and the response is there. Not bad from Batu. That pulls out the Viper's pit
It's
going to make this so much tougher.
They make the right call here, especially with an AWP on the ground, but more importantly,
Wait it out and then look to re-clear it moments later.
and the only time they did in the Armageddon came in to greet them alongside a stun, so understandable. This time a little bit of a switch up with Fluorescent and Malzy pushing. It's been a Vova dropped towards A for a couple rounds. They swap it up, they put the AWP there, early aggro, deleted immediately, and Fnatic, they're not even breaking a sweat on
They
this
didn't
push.
even use a Prowler in the initial clear. They were so confident in winning those fights that they sent basically no util. They just dry cleared and used them later on in the round. This is just a sweep. They were talking about waves, right? Well, this has turned into a tsunami and their opponents are getting washed away.
Yeah, and hoping to flood back in here, perhaps a chance. Two players with two picks, but it's a Vova low HP and dealt with by Alpha Batu, the last man standing, 3 to pick up. Waiting for that initial contact and swinging together. He does well to isolate a fight, but Alpha, Boaster is sitting outside C. You've got a late lurk as well by Crashies. They know that they're likely to hit a bunch of these ultimates on their way through, or on Apex's way back in. And so the solution is to send out those extremity plays, but Boaster being caught limits their options somewhat. 12 seconds left, plant is actually found. The ult from Fluorescent not landing. Alpha maintains control, but it's stolen away by Governor. 2 quick op shots, and it's back into Apex's favor. We've not seen them with this level of an advantage since that ult from Governor, and again, he is the difference maker, but Crashies on the late lurk. Kayak with another.
Defusing.
The defuse underway, though! And by a fraction of a second. 1-2 rounds that feel like flash in the pan. Now we need to see them really start to cook with gas, and it's a Vova opening it up, but the immediate response is there. Luckily, Batu had taken quite an aggressive position, and possibly the deepest Viper ultimate that I've seen put into play here on Lotus, past
That was
Mound,
just to slow
and he's
them
just
down.
bailed out, yeah.
I think he thought he was being rushed. Instead, he's being flanked. He does seem to have a decent idea on it, though. Catching a couple eventually will be cleared, but there's another player that they had to look for. Leaving Crashies alone in the clutch. Now, one off a Nightfall.
Find you.
Will be garnered by the plant. Knows that there's nobody close, although, well, the plant has been delayed. This could make this a much more problematic scenario with 2 players already coming in on the flank. He's going to have to get this bang on. Solid utility immediately thrown out, but they are behind him. Well, 2, maybe even a 3rd player about to wrap in. The salvos will make it awkward, but actually Boaster goes forward, takes things into his own hands. That's a huge start.
He really is shooting, isn't he? A double opener, and the hope here from Apex that the Viper wall alongside the door open on A would drag rotations. It has not worked out. Not even a sliver of hope on that C push, but they'll go back to it again. Opening the door to B, trying to drag rotates and dropping Boaster. Okay, a good start. Malzy, even in for another. That's him, I think, tripling his kills already. A confidence builder with a 3rd. And it's Alpha Chronicle on the way to back him up. 8 seconds left, though. They can just throw themselves at Batu and stop this plant. Win off of time. And in fact, he sealed his fate. Both kills needed.
Practice, you absolutely go for it, for sure. Yeah. But if it doesn't go well, that hasn't for Fluorescent or Batu.
That's the one fight the Chronicle wanted. Having that SMG in hand didn't really allow for many other angles. And now it's the same thing. Okay, that hasn't worked. Let's just try and go back into the B site. Well, guess what? The Fnatic players are already waiting. And they're not going to overface here either. Kayak is 1 away from having the showstopper. This is a done deal. Like, having that ultimate in this sort of scenario should have removed Malzy from action. That's at least 1, and somehow Malzy has found 1 more. Maybe there's some hope.
They've gotten overeager going in for those final fights, trying to force the issue. We talk about clutches of Ova essentially in one here. Malzy, 19 HP.
They hit both of
Rolling
them.
Thunder catches both. That's a lot of time running down now. It seemed to be a certainty that Fnatic would be on 12, that the map would be almost in their pocket, but now they need to fight their way back in. Crashy's a guy that doesn't die early and often wins clutches. That's a recipe for disaster if you're up against him. Kayak going down early, but it's all
Yes,
a
Avova.
Avova, wise to his tricks, catches Alpha out, and
Not
now
biased.
a 3 versus 5. Somehow, it feels like those 2 picks, though, just about even the scales.
It's been a weird one.
That's brutal.
Fluorescent already spotting out information. Even still playing it safe and using an ultimate to make sure everything is clear. And it seems like with a bit of damage to their economy, the Fnatic from the opponents is potentially to try and double back here, but Crashy's already waiting, sprays wildly, gets nothing, but now walking into the Lion's Den, Althea, but the flash is actually phenomenal. Leaves him completely blinded. Well, Kayak, hope to do some damage here, but only with the operator. You almost have to have a mistake out from Apeks.
Site relatively undefended. It's players that can be pushed back by utility, but Chronicle steps ahead after the stun, grabs one, that spike down, and another! A beautiful connection, but the response is there from Apeks. If they can stop this plant on Fnatic, it will be done. The nade is on its way. It might be a little bit too much to the right. No, it's Spot! Oh, and then Fluorescent down, but the plant just in time. Apeks still in with a chance. Some rounds have felt like a ship without a rudder, but now they'll finally need to find their direction with Fnatic coming all from one spot through the smoke, and they're put in the dirt, left into the hands of Bad 2, and the spray, it doesn't land. Fnatic site, that gives a real opportunity for those players coming up behind, and it's Bad 2 to connect.
This is the issue, not having that classic Sentinel. Means you have to have eyes on these positions. They're going full fighting. They want to try and get rid of Fluorescent, and that's exactly what Kayak will do. The rest of the players on Apeks, though, have not just been sitting pretty. They have evened things up.
And they have Alfier tagged low as well, and Chronicle with the pressure on and players all around. He's the only one on the site. They're now trying to wrap up and get Heaven control, but it's halfway diffused already from Apeks. Pressure very much on, and Chronicle, oh, it's Alpha, in fact, covering him. Left him on 1 HP, 29 as it fades, but dropped by Fluorescent. Apeks working back through the vents, but now they're boxed in. They found themselves in their own trap as Boaster comes up behind. Makes it back out towards middle and buys the space for Kayak, but the shots don't land as we thought they would. It's Boaster to clean up, and we're back in a neck-on-neck position, but the problem is Spike up in Heaven, and 2 players still on A, where the Spike now basically has to go. They're going to run in the other direction, 12 seconds? That's a bold play, if it's even possible. I don't think they can get to the site.
They're not going to make it, even if they do. Avovah's there ready and waiting to deny anything further. Enjoyed what went on in that round, and Bad 2 immediately! That is just crash, he's gone. We've talked about the importance of his utility, re-clearing angles, and their takes onto the site. Well, that is gone for this round.
But now they're going to have to be super aggressive in this round without that until now. And Alpha's done again.
Yeah, he's just pulled that one back. Boaster, though, left down to 7 HP. There's some good chances for Apeks in later fights. Avova and Malzy have taken a few blows as well. The scars are showing. Kayak looking for a battle up in Heaven, but Malzy's the one to pick that up, an easy lurk as the smoke went down. And Fluorescent's got a little off angle as well. The barrel was spotted, luckily. The player was spotted just after. And so now a 4v2 with 1 on 7 HP with a Bulldog. There is a showstopper, but if it's put into this one, that might be a bit of an overinvestment.
A not-so-wise man once said that Alfie is not particularly good in clutches, so
2v4.
We'll have to see.
Uh-oh.
Good start. 1 down already, and with an isolated player over on the B side, Showstopper is more so going to be used to garner space. I like the positioning of Avova, just holding on to this spot.
Avova's read this so well. In terms of that reaction, being able to hold on to this space advantage going into the post plan, in addition to the numbers advantage as well, it should be everything they need.
Alpha with a chance here. Oh, that was close. A few shots whizzed past their head, but Apeks easily able to close that, and Governor knew he was low.
Will change that dynamic for Fnatic, because yeah, say you do want to go for a more direct hit, you might just walk straight into an opponent. The problem though, Governor maybe not realizing what sort of round they're in, and well, we're back to Summon FC. This is not what I expected to see.
Kron's taking another pickup on A. There's weapons aplenty to be recovered. Blast pack through from Fluorescent, but there's a lot of numbers coming her way in the sneaky position of Alpha. Oh, shoots a little too early. Tries to take out the barrel. The player.
I'm a little bit perplexed as to what the plan was.
Showstopper's on its way, and Kayak is out of the round, but this was all a fake, a ruse, as they move into the A site, filling the space that only Batu now occupies. Malzy will come in to cover his back.
20 seconds.
Might just get into this sneaky spot on back site with the time so low. This could be the difference maker. I thought they'd be going. They've not gone out of Heaven. The spike needs to go. It's 10 seconds. They've got the kills, but they haven't found Batu. If he can stop this plant, he could save the round, but too late to the party. Picks up a few anyways, and it's Boaster to do it all. Running about, scared of players in the elbow, but it's Avova from Heaven.
It's just whether or not Governor can find anything on the site, and the answer is no. Batu, though, actually commits the shotgun pulled out of pocket, and has kept things even for now.
The plant acquired. Pit, Apeks ready to fight their way back through, but that's when the pit comes up. Chronicle playing around the edge. It's a risk, and it might not pay off here. It got dicey, but Crashies has bailed him out of a bad situation. Kayak up close, 30 HP, and he's got Avova looking the other way. Batu's the last man standing. A rifle in his hand, credits waning on his side, but even getting out of here is going to be difficult. They've gone for the push, and they'll finish him off. Oh, Kayak could be caught throwing that flash indeed. The timing was perfect for Governor to strike, but on the side of B, they're not getting quite so lucky. Already, you can see Fnatic will be able to get that plant in relatively free. But Apeks have their sights set on the rifle that they've dropped towards the spawn. Chronicle has a little more company than he thought that he did. Batu dropping him with the rifle, one to be picked up by Governor, and now a real opportunity for them to get back in. As you highlighted there, Tom, the ultimate online for Governor could clear a lot of space, and in fact, if deployed now, it could catch everybody. Most of them.
Yeah, this is as good an ult as you can have in this scenario. It doesn't look like they want to risk it here, not knowing where the players are, not having Heaven control, and already caught on the cross. It will in fact be sent out by the other side, and this leaves a troublesome position now for Crashies! There you go, you know the operator's there. Methodical as always by Fnatic, and Alpha just leaving it late in those mid-round scenarios. Batu's still here though. That operator deadly as ever, but you have to bear in mind that is basically the only weapon they have. The thing really on their side though is that clock starting to tick down, starting to get very late. These close corners causing issues. 8 seconds for them to get that spike down, but they've done it with a few seconds to spare.
Showstopper, and it's found one! That's the pick, but Kayak's keeping the minute. Looking to capture his inner Crashies with those big clutches. In the reposition, getting ahead of the nade might not be expected. Fluorescence looking the wrong way!
Take round. Let's see what they've got with it.
Look at this nasty little position in play.
30 seconds left.
This could cause big problems. Chronicle
Spike planted.
holding that control late. Oh, I think he's going for the flank. If he wraps around on A, he'll be way too late to the party. But if he goes back to Heaven now, a perfectly timed flank possible. Already though, Apeks flooding into the site.
Lovely.
Double pick from Fluorescence nade. Well, Chronicle better hurry up. It's only Kayak left, and position given away. Governor with the push back, and Kayak, well, he is left locked out of the site, and trying just to save the weapon to the next is I suppose, the only option.
How far he's managed to get, but maybe also doesn't want to give the game away as his teammates look to rotate, but Spectre eventually will do the work, and now Fluorescent knows the game is up. They're on the B side, but just waits to see if she can catch Alpha here. This pick could be everything. Having Heaven control could be huge, but they left Chronicle behind, another piece exactly the same, and now Alpha pounces as well. Similarly to Lotus, just leaving a couple every once in a while in an off angle. And for Governor, well, it would need to be a miracle. Like, very aggressive. What? What? Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Kayak's just been shown how it's done when you teleport into your opponent's face and find the kill anyway.
That's one way to do it. All right. Fluorescent already had a much better first half. She's popped off onto Boast.
This, and then the start of a half, or even if it comes later in a half, it can define how a map goes.
Are stacked up B-side defense, looking to push into these guns. That's Fluorescent already down, a rifle on the deck. This would be a horrific round to be lost, and 2 players have actually been caught by the Seas. Potentially going to go for a little bit more here. Yeah, sure, it's only pistols, but this is incredibly dangerous.
Can get costly for Fnatic.
They didn't get the gun back, by the way.
Yeah, Apeks have left the space. They had 3 rifles coming in. Chronicle.
No one's classic is that clean. I'm sorry.
Again, it was only a ghost he's up against, but this guy is just phenomenal. And now, luckily at least, we see them go back in to fill this space. Problem is, Alfier's already got the rifle. He shows that to them plain as day, taking down Governor, and this has been an absolute disaster of a follow-up for Apeks. You talk about icebreakers, well, I think that ice is just frozen back over.
When the ice age.
Credit to Milan and Scott here. That's definitely, or perhaps Boaster as well, someone within that group is nice for Fnatic.
Ready. Chronicle has just looked utterly clinical. And while Fluorescent, after unfortunately using that showstopper in the last round, will have to just sit and watch the remainder crash. He's not going to overface. And this is the thing I always like with the Fnatic squad is they're happy to sit that little bit more passive once having an advantage. of Over is desperately trying to make a play into the B side. In fact, the spike is currently running all the way back through the spawn. I'm more interested in Batu.
He's got a great position. Sneaking in through heaven, and look, they're so focused on Avova that Batu can come swinging in from above. A 2 versus 2, a retake for Fnatic as the plant is undoubtedly coming in. The players are in sewers at the moment. And most importantly, on this retake, Kayak has an operator. Might want to trade that out, but I'm just looking at where he is. I don't think he has the opportunity. So instead, they'll move from main. And you can see that if he is the one to take that swing, he'll have a real chance to connect that opening duel.
That the TP's behind them as well. A rough idea of where these opponents could be. The operator not quite connecting, but the rifle has been found.
Oh!
Batu tagged up. A lot of additional damage. Chance for an individual fight, but doesn't know where the remainder is of Governor, who will get the timing spot on. Players out on Heaven, but the execution has begun. 15 seconds. Apeks need to make a move on. Boaster's just going to be pre-fired through.
10 seconds left.
That's the opener that they needed. Chronicle. It was a potential opportunity, but the fight's not quite going nowhere. At least they won. A quick pick. Alfia not going to clear, and because of that, that double duelist strikes again.
Walking just in time, popping down some stars, trying to buy that little bit of extra time.
What?
Chronicle onto Fluorescent, though. That must have been through the smoke.
Yeah.
And looking, but it was, we saw it indeed. And a little bit more found now from Alfia. Avova, though, makes his presence known, but it's only for one. Still, Fnatic on their way to the site, grabbing themselves a half diffuser, trying to. The grab well comes into play. Avova buying more time as Heaven has now seized the sprays in the smoke are good. And it's only one Boaster on the stick, and he'll get it across the line. Players sitting just meters from each other as Governor rounds the corner, though he's the one to win the fight. With Avova winning the Battle of the Astras, the B site seems open for business. They certainly think it is, but Kayak's rotated in early, and a double pickup puts us back to square footing. That push onto site delayed, and the reposition from Kayak, the high-low, it's not worked out. And it's Chronicle to fall with battle scars on Kayak. He's lucky to still be alive. Pressure on for Alpha with the plant now secured.
Eden will do a little bit of chip damage. That showstopper you mentioned is now online in the post, but I don't think they're going to need it. Alfia low enough that holding onto the gun is going to be so desperately important. And the fact is, like, Fnatic, their risk was, okay, we have some weaker weaponry. Bear in mind, they won a round but had
shot almost landed. The gate crash.
It's enough, though.
Yeah.
Should be enough.
I say that.
Boaster's still here. He's picked up Fluorescent, waiting for them to come out of the smoke, but the Bulldog doesn't have that much of a bite this time. Although, look who's just been spotted. They know where Avova is, and it seemed like Kayak wanted to take him down.
Both Yoru's just about escaped. Death them all, taking their time. Expecting some counter utility. The paint shell's already used, the snakebite already used, so any form of denial is already gone. Avova is going to get back around into the pit, now flashing through, waiting on the other side. It's a running shot that takes out Kayak.
Blinded
Mentioned
too.
this point. Making it through any of that utility is impossible at this stage. Like, trying to find
out, and they're starting to fade away. They think that player inside the vent is signaling an A push. And so this is, map control is left wide open, looking to just compete for middle. Whoa, that's a little risky. The jump peek from Batu, but he gets out unscathed. Crashy's falling.
30 seconds left.
And everything has come crashing down for Fnatic. The lead that was theirs for oh so long. And it seemed set to close this out 2-0 to lock in qualification to playoffs. But that may be a bumpier road than anticipated.
Apeks giving Fnatic a taste of their own medicine. That same slow, multi-phase kind of attack play style where they're leaving agents, Batu on the Yoru in vents where he's able to escape with a TP if he needs to.
Oh, it doesn't quite catch Boaster.
that. Does
Still very much waiting for this player to come out of his ult.
What is that?
Find him anyways. Batu's been on one.
Oh, no one's taking that back to the training ground. That was messy, but it works out. Chronicle has immediately responded, though. Fnatic never down until they're out, and oh, they forgot about Alfia. They thought, oh, you know, he's pushed up, he's taken control, but he'll go back. No, he's actually sitting in the spawn, just chilling, just waiting for them to try and respond. Chronicle with another, and well, Alpha is going to take us to overtime. Is going to try and get that A little bit of hold in case they try and move back, and with a stack up on this side, it could be huge, but never mind. Kayak with an immediate opener of over on the site, needs to try and hold his ground. The timing looks good, but it's only Fluorescent to find anything. And while with seconds left, an attempt, well, a risky attempt to try and deny the spike. That was all that was really available there.
Yeah, 9 seconds on the clock. Being perfect now. Kayak under pressure. He gets a second gate crash out. Has a way to fall back, but takes the fight instead. At least landing one before falling. They might think that he was solo on this side. They're certainly not aware of Chronicle. They're not looking, and that's a big mistake. He only gets one for his trouble, though. An underwhelming performance considering it is Chronicle up there given the opportunity.
There's a second layer to it though. Such a quick response from Alpha here, but he just wants to hold on to the ground, try and get some information. In fact, that's Fluorescent forced back into an angle that is basically a 1 versus 1, unless Molesey swings, which Molesey cannot swing. They're holding him in position, at least for now. Fluorescent, though, repositions are so important, but it leaves them all caught to the back of the site. A chance for Fnatic to just garner all of this extra space without too much resistance. That time, however, is ticking lower and lower. Just holding on to this late ground. They need to get towards the spike as quickly as humanly possible. Alfia will be there, and well, I think the time has already gone. Just rushing around will be. Mosey needs to get onto this spike. Get this done. We continue.
Closed.
I don't know if Batu have any idea. And on the other side of the map, an aggressive push into B main hasn't worked out. It's a response, it's a counter. And that's now a 2-player advantage for Fnatic.
Yeah, this is it. The more data that you give them, the more chance that they add the numbers up correctly. Fnatic putting the pieces to this puzzle together ahead of time. Governor trying his best, but Chronicle, we said through the smokes, he's been good. He's done it through the wall now. And Avova and Molesey left to pick up the pieces. What remains? A picture that looks bleak. Ova's in no man's land. Crashies is on the flank as well. He's on his way up and not even needed. Kayak puts Molesey to bed. And Avova, well, the element of surprise, it might be good for 1. It could even get him 2, but that's still only halfway there.
This is like heading into a medieval battle. Well, I'll be there in 2 weeks, guys. There's just us hold as long as you can. Well, the TP was right in his face, but it turns out if Kayak gets a dimensional drift, he also gets all the info.
Kayak's had a fantastic round here. Obviously, someone there in the pre-round has called, right, we know how Batu's setting up. We know that they're ready for Chronicle to be a little bit further back towards A main. A vote was good for 1.
No, time's going. Keep going with your points.
They're so...
That A-hold, it's being figured out.
Massive direct.
It's a while before we get there. Kayak, 1 is all he's good for. And a flurry of frags for Apeks. They're right back in the game. Well, talked about if they get to another OT. Well, the coaches better start thinking about what's going to happen to that defensive hold, because it looks like they'll get another swing at it. Boaster and Chronicle, 2 versus 4 to make this attempt. And we've seen the elbows stack up before. It was Apeks with 2 players. I think it was Molesey and Fluorescent in the firing squad last time around. That was enough. This time they've got 4 back there, stacked up and ready to swing. If anything comes of this for Fnatic, it will be a play that's talked about for a long time to come.
Chronicle has a few of those.
Yeah.
Snakebite in hand could make it awkward, but already dinked. Makes it any worse. They're also denying Boaster any additional space. He's the only one with any HP remaining, and Avova's just sat on the other side with a shorty. The time at this stage is too fogged. Gravwell to push him out of position. In fact, Molesey's gone down. That's a big kill from Alpha. And while, again, it goes down to the last few seconds, but as always, the execution from Fnatic is perfect.
Running the time down low again, but it has worked.
It's worked every time. I feel like we can't even really question it at this stage when it goes down to those last few seconds and it never seems to go wrong.
Except for that plant on Lotus, but yeah, other than that, everything's been working out, and it will again this time.
Crashies with the C's, and that's exactly, he's thrown the C's, he's slowed them all down. That could be the perfect piece. Utility as Kayak comes up behind! Dimensional drift gives them all the information, knows exactly where they are, can hold them in position, can try and make things awkward as Crashies picks up 1 more. It's left all onto Batu. Has an ult of his own, a chance to try and at least get his way to the site, but there is no one giving him anything. They are sitting back, ready to fight this one together.
Surely this can't be the play to keep Apeks in it. It's been nothing but attack side success. Burning the midnight oil here. They've gone the distance, but 16-14 seems set in stone. Batu with an ace clutch, if he is, to buy another opportunity for Apeks. And they've just heard that shot. They know where he is. A chance to take down one, but missed the window. And Boaster fires back to seal their fate.